Johnny enters the vlog. What's up? I like this missile car you got here. Is this one of those drifting machines?
I don't know about all that.
It has character like one. Welcome to the vlog. Say hey to everyone.
Hey.
So this is like one of 4 300s that you have right now, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's 4. The red one, the black one, and there's another white one too, huh?
Yeah, just got the white one. And then there's 2 black ones. There's that twin turbo car and that one I bought that's been totaled.
Yeah. Okay, all right guys. So Johnny's got his hopefully missile car over here, and we're gonna check it out and see what it might need to be ready for the track. So yeah, and maybe we'll hit the yard in it. So we'll see what happens. What do you think, Johnny?
I think it's gonna need a lot of work.
It may not need as much as you think. These do all right with the stock suspension. Like, I'm not saying stock suspension's for a track car, but
Right, yeah.
it could be driftable with stock
Still
suspension.
have that whole dig deal with the front end on these things.
Yeah, well, we'll just do those front bushings. All right, pull it up on the concrete and let's get a jack under it. Got some leaks down here.
Yep, don't hurt my front bumper. Brand, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And on sale for like 99 bucks.
Yeah, so, because that basically lets it do the death shake, like the Jeep death shake, if you don't replace those.
Really?
Yeah, and whenever you drift the car, it'll let the wheel, it'll let the suspension compress, and the wheel will bite the back. So we got to do those for sure. All right, so these guys here, since they're so big around, they're full of rubber. We have to replace them with like a urethane bushing. Oh, it refocused. All right. We have to replace those with like a urethane bushing. That way, whenever the car is drifting, it doesn't push the wheel back into the firewall and use the tire as a brake, because it'll grab the steering wheel from you if not. Everything else looks pretty healthy under here. It's got new shocks. That's a good sign. I mean, you know, for its first initial test. Even the tie rods are good on this side, at least.
Oh, so you haven't done anything for this one since you bought it?
No, I haven't done anything to it.
No, that's what we're doing now. We're checking it out.
Okay.
See what it might need to go
There's all fluids in it.
to go to the track, or since the track keeps canceling events, we could go, you know, to the backyard. That's what I was hoping for, at least. Okay, so I was worried that, you know, the shocks would hold us back if we were using stock suspension, because like it's not going to be a tandem car with stock suspension, but it'll be driftable. You'll be able to run the course. You just won't be able to be so aggressive and catch it.
Well, I'm a beginner anyway, so you know.
Yeah, so it's almost perfect. But the shocks have been replaced and everything looks healthy.
The back shocks are replaced.
We're gonna have to do these for sure, and probably the steering rack bushings. I don't know, they look okay. We should probably do the rack bushings anyway, because they're easy. And your oil leaks, I mean, like, you're not even dripping oil.
Okay.
Yeah, so this thing's good. This would pass tech.
If they ever health tech it over.
Yeah, I haven't seen a tech person in quite a while there. Like the car I had here last week, I pulled the whole subframe, burned the bushings out, cut the races, hammered them out, put new bushings in. On these, they make a collar, so you don't have to drop the whole subframe. You pull the nut on the bottom, put a jack under your diff, and drop your subframe down a little bit, and you can just slip this collar between the body and subframe and put another one on the bottom. And when you tighten it up, it basically takes up the slack and sandwiches it in there. So for a car like this, like, we're not trying to make it a purpose-built race car. It's a $30 solution that takes 15 minutes versus a $130 solution that takes 6 hours. So just small investment for, you know, a starter car kind of setup. I did them on my S13 for years, no problems. And then when I had the opportunity to pull the subframe, I went ahead and did the bushings. But I had already put cage in the car and gotten serious with it at that point. So look at this, Carl. He's got a love tap. It looks like somebody's running in the first turn with him. He's pulling that Aaron Losey move. Bumper cars on the way in. Is it okay to do that with this when we drift it? Yeah. So it's got a pretty big gap there, like where it's collapsed and sagged. And this is with the weight of the car, you know, with the diff jacked up. And it's actually pushing it up really tight on the body up there too. So this for sure needs the collars. You know, I don't think this will be the car, but if we ever do a serious car, we'll probably just replace the bushings too. It's nice and clean under here. Thanks for cleaning it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's good.
Unlike my car.
Honestly, this is probably parking lot stuff. Somebody not paying attention. It's a pavement car anyway. It had never really been driven hard enough to really shake all that stuff up anyway. So. All right, so is it time to rip the yard?
I guess so.
Yeah, okay. You want me to try it first? Make sure
Yeah,
it feels normal?
Yeah.
Lead by example.
Well, I mean, there may, even though everything checked out good, it's still a good idea to shake the car down. And like Johnny, he hasn't drifted on the track and stuff. He may not know that the car's doing something. He may be thinking it's him.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna make sure it feels normal, and then
That's like me. I think I mess up, and you're like, Carl, it's the open dip.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what happens. It's big.
You take that bag out? Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna take it easy because this thing weighs a lot.
Oh, geez, the tank.
How much does this weigh?
I want to say 32 or 4.
That's not that bad though.
But it feels soft. The brakes kind of feel spongy too.
This proper needs pads, honestly.
It's like a hydraulic sponginess.
I really hadn't done anything with this car.
Like a big boat.
It is.
Stock suspension doesn't work out. The transition is kind of. That stock suspension.
Look, the Z32.
No good.
You know, really, it's not that bad. Let me go back around and slide up to the camera in this one. No, so the brakes have 5 inches of just mush whenever you hit them again after you've been on throttle. So I usually use the brake to rotate for this transition here.
Yeah.
So they definitely need to be bled. I think they got air or something in them. I don't think that I don't think it's the master cylinder going bad, because it probably be like leaking down. You're not having to add fluid, are you?
No.
Yeah, so it probably should be bled down. Somebody may have done brake work and not done like we always take them and hit the calipers to get the bubbles to rise to the top. That could be it. So the car feels okay other than that though. I'm gonna pull back around and then let Johnny give it a shot.
Okay. Cool.
Or you wanna just go from right here?
Oh, it don't matter.
Okay. 2 pieces of advice, because a lot of people are running here and they'll try to initiate way back over here after they're already making the turn. I tried to get the car sideways early. That way I've got plenty of time to settle the suspension and stop from going to the trees. But just don't barrel off into it. You saw how I went slow the first pass.
I'm probably gonna be overly cautious.
Yeah, just go slow. Don't feel bad. It's difficult in the grass. I think you'll be able to do it though.
I don't.
I think, yeah, he's gonna figure this out today.
Less throttle because it's coming around on me too fast, or what?
Usually I use the throttle to keep the car, the back end dug in, if that makes sense. You want the car to stay settled.
So I need to give a little more throttle.
If you lift throttle, it's naturally going to try to rotate.
I can feel the
Does that
car
make
coming
sense?
around. I'm like, oh shit, what's going on? And so that's where I'm asking, do I need to start easing off the throttle or burying it into?
So
'Cause
especially
I can tell when I'm losing. I'm like, okay, it's going on around. Like, what do I do now?
right. It depends. I'll watch and try to figure out what you're doing, but I wouldn't. To be honest, I was looking at the camera more than I was you.
I can understand that.
So think of grass as the same as you would a wet road. So everything has much less grip.
Right.
And like I was saying a second ago, if you're on throttle, the suspension is settled in and the car is gripped in and you're in control. But the second the suspension starts to uncompress, you're at a disadvantage having stock suspension. You got a lot of compression. As soon as you lift the throttle, the car does this, and it's naturally going to rotate. So I think maybe what you're doing, you know, we'll make a couple more passes and see. You may be lifting throttle right here because of the trees, trying to make the turn by lifting throttle rather than making the turn with the steering. If that makes sense.
That's kind of what I think I'm doing.
So,
honestly.
But you're going to learn it quick. Go ahead.
All right.
Leaps and bounds.
Future Pro 2 driver here.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna say this. It looks fucking sick.
Yeah.
The 300ZX just looks sick. Like, oh, I want one. I just don't want a VG.
Yeah, so pretty much just too much throttle right there. Once he got it set up,
Yeah.
he just hammered it down.
Yeah, instead of maintaining.
Yeah.
It's got more mileage.
Yeah, okay,
I tried to
so
bury on into it.
yeah, no, you don't want to bury it. You just want to keep it consistent. You don't want to. You basically just whiskey throttle it, like on a bike. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, don't focus on just rolling it down. What I was saying is, don't go on off, because that's going to be hard to keep the car settled.
All right.
Unless you're carrying a lot of speed, like third gear stuff at 60 plus mile an hour, the car can't stay settled at low speed if you're on and off throttle. Does that make sense?
Yes. All right.
You want us to go weld your diff real quick?
I want to drive it. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, I'm handing you guys back to the Carl.
To the Carl.
Yes.
Just try it.
No, you can go ahead. I'm telling you to go again until I start to see a pattern. That way we have a baseline to work from.
Yeah.
As much as we can work from here in the grass, but you know, since they keep canceling our drift events, we got to make do somehow. Okay. At least he knows not to just lock the wheels up. He's getting the car into counter. He's getting the car into counter. Well, I will say this.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
When I came through, like right here where he's spinning, there's almost like, you can see how there's an elevation drop right in that spot. So the suspension would kind of, and I would have to correct that with the steering a few times I made it through, so. Yeah. So I think basically the same thing that was going on with me when I went through there. Like, the elevation is changing since you got so much suspension travel. The suspension's not staying settled because you're getting it in counter and getting it on throttle here.
Yes, and then it's like...
Right. It's think of like a parking lot that's dry and wet.
Tell him to come watch from where I am.
I'm gonna drive through it.
Yeah, come on.
Come from the spectator zone.
Cool off anyway.
Yeah, it'll work you out. He makes it look effortless.
Yeah, I know, right? Just smooth.
Right. Smooth.
Okay, so I'm taking partial responsibility because I am blipping throttle. I'm not holding it over here because it does get kind of slick in that section. Did you hear how I kind of lifted and then I waited for a second and I patted on it again?
That's what I kept feeling.
Just to keep the car in check.
And my normal tendency, you know,
I thought you know all that too.
Yes, because I'm doing it with the suspension as the suspension's loading and unloading. I'm gonna go run through it again so you can hear what I'm doing with the throttle.
Okay.
And then I don't know if you want to let it cool or not.
Yeah, we'll probably let it cool down a minute. It's
Okay.
an old engine, old car.
Oh no, it's ready. It's not even broke in yet. It's only got 170,000 miles on it.
one now.
Somebody else finally brought a car to come drift my yard.
Yeah.
Thank you, Johnny.
You're welcome.
I've been trying to beg people to come bring their shit and come wreck their shit with me here in my backyard.
Well, Johnny brought a wrecked,
Previously
car.
wrecked.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like already been chewed bubble gum.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's let it cool off.
I don't know
go
what I
inside?
want more now, this or one of those.
I don't know, man. It's gonna be hard to get me off the Toyota.
SC300 or 300X. I don't know. It's like
No, I'll tell you this.
V6.
that is the
And they're constantly having issues.
Yeah,
I ain't
that's-
gonna
Yeah.
lie. I ain't gonna make you think it's something that's not. It's a pain in the ass.
Well, my dad, he has a good strategy to not have issues with his.
just drive
Just don't drive it.
That kind of
Just build it and just park it. All right, so it is low on fluid, so I guess we need to check and see if we can find a leak somewhere. Have you noticed any leaks at like the wheels on the calipers?
I hadn't really looked into it that deep, to be honest.
It could be leaking out of the back of the Master too. Hopefully not, because that Master's kind of expensive, but I think we got parts cards. While we're letting it cool off, you want me to get the 12 and just pull these two nuts and pull it back and see?
If you want to.
Yeah, it looks like it's leaking out of the back of the Master. I can't really tell until I can pull this back. Yeah, it is. Look at it. See how wet that is there? Okay, so it needs a new Master. Let's check the calipers out. These are dry. This one's dry back here. Physically okay condition. It's not corroded up or anything. I wonder if we can get a seal kit and rebuild it.
Probably could.
That way we're not just putting another used one that the seal's probably going to do the same thing on.
Yeah, I mean the seals are what, 30 years old or so.
Hey, the commitment was good coming around the shop.
Yes.
Excellent commitment.
Unlike some people.
I wasn't going to call anybody out.
I'm not calling anybody out.
Hey, he did much better last time he was here. Give him some credit. Be nice, Carl. Be nice.
It's like, be nice, guy.
All right, guys, that's it for this video. If you want to see more 300ZX stuff, or if you want to see Johnny actually get on track with us in this 300ZX, let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.